A warm welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Do not forget to subscribe. So in today's video, I thought it'd be a good idea to do a 5-year update on my ownership experience of all of these kind of flex power tools. And yes, it's been about 5 years since I decided that I was going to invest in a battery operated cordless platform. Now, the key thing for me was I wanted to use cordless polishers, specifically the cordless XCE forced rotation. That was always going to be my main polisher of choice. And it was really from using it and kind of reaching for it and realizing how useful cordless is, and just how convenient it is over power corded versions where the cable just, it's annoying. You've got to wrap it up and tuck it away and manage it. And if you're on a stall, you drive over the trolley. And I just got fed up with cables. Now, the reason I went with flex is, one, I wanted to use forced rotation cordless. But two, I didn't want to just use flex cordless tools and have all these other power tools that might have been made by different manufacturers, you know, Makita, DeWalt, Bosch, you know, all these other tools, and then have all these different battery charger options. So I was looking for one tool manufacturer that could do the lot. And really, flex, back then, 5 years ago, was the only option in terms of giving me the range of polishers at the core of my tools, and then loads of other tools that I could go and buy later on. And there was no ideal choice. I think really it was either going to be flex or DeWalt, but DeWalt didn't have the cordless polishers back then, 5 years ago, I don't think. Or probably Makita, but they didn't have the cordless polishers. So really flex was the only option. That's the first thing. The next thing was, as well as having the polishers, you've got to invest in the battery platform. And these batteries, these 5 volt, 18 volt, 18 volt 5 amp batteries are about £99 each. So when you're investing in a pool of them, you want to be able to use a pool of less batteries with more tools. So it's really important that the tool manufacturer is also bringing out tools that I want that run on that battery platform. So that was critical to me. So let's just set the camera down here. That's a good shot there, isn't it? You can see everything. And we'll start and we'll go through and talk about, first of all, the things that have broken on them and the things that aren't working. Let's just make sure I've got a good view. Yeah. So we'll start with the tool that this is the tool that I use the most. The VC6 cordless vacuum. This gets used at least 5 times a week because every time I bring my car in and I've got stuff in my feet and it goes into the driver's footwell, I grab this when the car comes in the garage and just quickly vacuum it all out so it doesn't all build up. This is one of my favourite tools out of all of the tools I've got because it has a decent amount of suction. No, not the same amount of suction as a big vacuum. No, no. And it does, if you use this tool, it does drain battery life quite a lot. It has to work quite hard on the motor. So, yeah, but it's ideal for me because I just round robin batteries. Now, this is one of the few things that's actually had a failure, and the clip that holds this there snapped because I tried to push this in, I think with this on it, which is wider, and it just probably overloaded it and snapped the plastic there. I could have probably, I don't know if I did it after a year or 2 years of what the warranty is. I could have probably sent that back actually, but I just figured it's okay. You could drill a little plastic pipe on there and cut a slot in that plastic pipe and drill it into there and then clip it back in, but I just put it like that. The only other thing I don't like about this tool is that it's very hard to find the replacement bags for it, and they're like 25 quid, I think. Don't quote me on that price, but north of 20, I believe, for like 5 paper bags that you put in there, and I won't pay that. So after filling up my bag, I even tipped that bag out a few times and the bag just disintegrated in the end. I don't run this with a bag, which is a bad thing because the filter at the top of it gets all dirty, but I'll just run this Hoover into the ground, this vacuum into the ground, and I would get another one when it breaks. So that's a really cool tool if you've got a garage. If you haven't, I think you're better off buying a bigger vacuum, and I'll show you one of the Flex ones and just using that and setting it up. But if you've got a garage and you're wheeling it in, it's brilliant. I mean, I use it for so many things. I just quickly go around the garage with it as well if some bits blow in here, and it's all about the speed for me, because I can go and fire this up, suck up what I want to suck up, put it away before I've even set the other tool up, you know, the other main vacuum. So that's a really good tool. The heads on it are pretty good. The only other thing is I tape around this, they got this like valve system on here, and it always comes loose and like opens up, and you don't want it. I just want it fully closed to give me max suction. So I fully closed it and taped it up, and then that hasn't been a problem since. And I think this came with might have come with a bit of cord on it, a little bit of fabric on it, which I find sticks to the seat and you get hair build up. I can't remember that. Actually, if I'm wrong on that, apologies. But if it did, I pulled that off as well. Yeah, the brush attachments to it, they're not like ultra high quality. You wouldn't go over your dashboard plastics with these. If they're soft plastics, this might scratch it and stuff. But it's also, by being a bit harder, it also means it wears better. So this has been a pretty good tool. Next up, I got this one because I saw it being released and I thought I can use this. This is an inflator. I use this a lot. I use this to take to track days. I use this to pump up my tyres, obviously, that's what it's for. And I use this to blow up inflatable lilos and, you know, swimming pools and stuff in the garden. And it's been pretty good. The only thing I would say about this, again, it does drain the battery quite quickly because it's blasting the motor, but not significantly quickly. The only thing lacking on this is memory, so that when I turn it on, I then have to go and select PSI every single time and then set the pressure up, like all the way up. But there you go, to where you want it, and then do that every single time. I wish it just remembered my pressures so that it's on and I just adjust the pressure up or down one or whatever, and away you go. It's got a little torch on it as well, which I've never used, but might be quite handy. Yeah, so this has been a solid tool. It was quite expensive for an inflator, but I didn't feel it was that expensive, at around about £100. And again, I'm looking at what Flex are bringing out, and if it's in their cordless line, I'm thinking, shall I go and buy it? You know, and that's what investing in this tooling system was all about. Yeah, so that's been a good little tool for me as well. Pumping up footballs and stuff like that. Now the polishers. This XCE, you know, 18 volt cordless polisher has been absolutely bulletproof. It's been used a fair few times. It's not been hammered. I wipe it down with some rubbing alcohol when I finish with it. I try and keep it free of polish build up in all the filters and the triggers and the handles, so it's not all white and, you know, filthy. But nothing. There's no real signs of wear on that. There's a little bit of movement on that plate. I could tighten, yeah, that could just do with a slight tighten, that bolt in there, but it's been absolutely fine. The tool is well made, it's German made, it's just like pretty similar to what it was when I got it. There's nothing that's gone wrong with it. What would be my wish list for this tool? I don't need any more power or torque from it, really. I don't find it noisy. I don't find it especially rattly. It's light. I guess the only thing is the battery on the end of the handle does add weight, and that battery is plastic, and you just want to be careful that battery not knocking on the paintwork. So I'm always mindful of that. Yeah, it'd be good. Someone will bring out an aftermarket cradle for the batteries. That would be a good idea, with a rubberized one that just straps over the battery. But you'd be changing it every time you change batteries, really, which would be a pain. So maybe a cradle that just clips onto the bottom and protrudes a little bit, but it's very quick to pop over the bottom. Yeah, phenomenal tool. I believe there's a new version of it coming out in Europe soon, but I won't rush out to buy it because I've got this and it's just does what I want. Now this tool on the other hand, the XFE, the free spinning DA, I've got the 6-inch pad on that. So I tend to use this for putting spreading stuff or finishing polish. You can cut with it, but the problem with this tool is its top speed range is around about, I think, 3,800 OPMs. So it doesn't, other polishers, you know, cordless ones like the DeWalt and stuff, give you more power and let the battery drain a bit quicker. I think Flex have tried to manage the battery power by not giving you all of that top end. So I do find this can be a bit prone to not having enough power. So if you're operating it, if you're using this and you want to do any sort of cut, you have to be on speed 6, but you can't really pressurize into the paint, especially with 6-inch pads. So 5-inch plate would be better. So I just find you wouldn't have the grunt with this to do like single stage paint correction with deep swirls perhaps. Yes, it's more, because of that lack of power, it's more a finishing tool. And that's the main issue I have with it. I did have a bit of the bolts that go through the plate were kind of protruding a little bit and just catching. So I had to almost loosen them off a bit, but I think that was just the way it came set up. But very smooth tool, no real problems with it, but it doesn't get used very often. So that is, yeah, it is. That's the one that I could do without, because you could just finish out in the same way with the XCE on lower speeds. Yeah, so it's a bit of a luxury. The PXE I think is a phenomenal, so this is their nano polish. So this is a phenomenal tool that has, for a little nano tiny polisher that's very light, has a lot of torque and has a really good plate system in it. This tool's Chinese made, which I'd prefer all of the Flex stuff to be made in Germany, ideally, because I think China, when I hear it's made in China, China, doing a Donald Trump, you sort of think that the quality's not as good. But this is an example of a Chinese-made tool where the build quality is really, really good on it, actually. The best thing about this is it has a good amount of torque at top speed, a good amount for its size. Not the same as dedicated 3-inch minis and cordless minis, nowhere near that, but a good amount of torque. Gives you the versatility with the plate system to use it with a long throw on a 3-inch for just polishing up bumpers, and you can put a little wall pad on it, you can cut with it, you can put the spot pads on it. There's 2-inch adapter systems with APE, is it APE or APS? There's cone adapter systems with APS. I think Flex do them now as well. You can put little barrel cones in so you can do underneath door locks. So you don't need to, if you've got this, you don't need to buy those long extension things, which cost a lot of money. Flex sell them, but the price was way too much for me when you've got that capability on here already. Yeah, very good tool. What don't I like about the PXE? Not much. I guess it uses the 10.8 volt battery system, so you've got to get different battery platform for it, which is a bit of a pain, but it'd be nice if it worked on the 18 volt 2.5 amp platform, which is smaller. That would be more ideal, because that's the same platform that these run on. So you could use those batteries, utilize those batteries a little bit more. Their drill platform runs on it as well though. The only other thing I would suggest is it doesn't give you, if you're working on speed 4 and then you turn off and turn back on, it will drop the speed down to speed 3, and you've got to keep remembering to drop it back up again. I don't like that. You know, just give me the speed I want. I understand why they've done it, but yeah, it just adds another thing I've got to remember to do. But yeah, just a really good tool, and that adapter plate system was just brilliant, and it is brilliant. So you can use rotary 1-inch pads on it. You can use the non-proprietary 2-inch. You can put extension bars on it when you're using rotary, and you've got a 3-inch offset for sanding, so you can put little daisies on it and sand, or you can put daisies, sanding, hook and loop sanding discs on this and run it with the 3-inch plate and sand with the machine. It's useful for like headlights and stuff like that, and taking out sanding marks or denibbing and stuff like that. Yeah, really, a really good tool actually, the PXE. Not cheap. None of this Flex stuff is cheap. That's the downside with it. In terms of batteries, I've encountered 0 battery failures. I think the Flex battery platform is pretty good. Someone I was talking to the other day did invest in the Flex battery platform and had a battery failure, but it was covered under warranty. So they can fail, but I've not experienced it. And I've got a pool. How many batteries have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I've got more than 6. There's probably another couple knocking around. At least 6 big batteries though. Thought I had more than that. I must be missing something. I don't know. Or I've got any tucked away. 6 big batteries and 4 small ones. So I've got 10 batteries. Probably about 800 quid's worth of batteries. Which isn't cheap. The next thing is the Flex DWL 2500 or 2500. Oh, there's one in there. I don't know if I counted that. 1, 2, 3. I didn't. No, so I've got 7 batteries. Probably enough. This is a workshop light that I think was developed with, with Scan Grip. Don't quote me on that, but it looks like one. And they're a kind of market leading light specialist, so that would be a good thing. This is robust, solid, nothing falls off of it. It feels incredibly well made. It is quite simple to use. It does have a Bluetooth connect to your phone function, which is just absolutely useless. It's too much fiddling around. Not really an issue with this tool. It would be any tool that you can connect to your phone and connect with adjust with your phone. No, not really. Maybe if you had a load of them and you wanted to control them all, maybe it's nice. I don't know. You can change that type of light and go from all these different shades of light, which might be better for spotting swirls. Maybe a lower yellow light down here can sometimes be a better swirl finder. And you can swip between what type of light you want and the intensity of the light, I think, by pressing both of these. That could be improved, because I can never figure out how to do that. How do you flip across? There's a way. I think you've got to press 2 buttons at the same time or something. I don't know. Let's just figure that out. See, this is I can never remember how you do this. I think it's both those buttons. There we go. Is that it? Oh no, let's turn the Bluetooth on. Maybe it's both of these. No, it's not. So how do you flip from adjusting the brightness each time? Or maybe you've got to hold the Bluetooth. No, that wouldn't be it. I don't know how you flip. Someone will be screaming it off. I'm going to go and research how you flip. I thought it's pressing 2 buttons was the way you did it. See what I mean though? That's an annoyance. It just had a separate button. I thought you could change the brightness. I'm sure you could. How do you do that? How do you change that? Maybe you hold your finger on the power button. There you go. So you hold your finger on the power button and you can do something. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe my battery's wrong. So we're on 10%. Oh, we go up. There we go. Yeah. Just want to make sure it's actually working. Yeah. I think that is. I don't know. But we kind of figured it out. This tool, I wish Flex had something like that. Maybe they do now. Because I tend to prefer just having an inspection torch that you can grab and get sort of like a bit more control of where you're pointing it, and it's got enough light. Yeah, so that Flex lighting, that was really expensive as well, but I wanted it. Yeah, I don't use that so much. I got the tripod for it as well. Next, they recently brought this blower out, and the previous blower had no power, and it was good for just like what I used to say. I didn't like it when I first got it because I didn't think it had enough power, but then I was grabbing it all the time, and I got rid of my big boy blower because I couldn't be bothered to plug the big boy blower in. I'd just grab the cordless and get the convenience and just blow out all the little runoff areas and blow the wing mirrors out and blow under the seals out and all that sort of stuff. And it was great. But they brought this out, and this is better. There's just no 2 ways about it. This is a leaf blower that came, all the detailing companies sold it with this, what's this called? Stubby nozzle company nozzle on it and a little soft tip, and you get much more manoeuvrability without having a long you know, leaf blower stick on the end of it trying to blow your car with it. So that's a great addition. I would get that you need that, and it blows the leaves fine with this stubby nozzle, so you don't need the leaf blower extension really, unless you're doing a lot of leaf blowing. What don't I like about this? Well, it does drain the battery quickly, but that's because it's powering a fan that's going haywire. The only thing is, to unlock the full turbo power, you have to pull on this, and then you have to pull that and hold it down to access the turbo. And you kind of sometimes feel that you just want the turbo to be available on the trigger with the trigger lock. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that I could say that I'd want with that. But even without the turbo enabled, it's enough to dry a car, it's fine. But it's just a little wish list I'd have, because I do find myself often reaching for that turbo. This drill was the hack, that if you wanted these 10.5 volt batteries, it was cheaper to buy a drill set. I think they were 89 quid, and they came with 2 batteries, and these batteries were about 50 quid. So you're better off buying the drill set and getting 2 batteries and a free drill. So I was planning on just buying loads of these periodically, but I haven't had to. This drill gets used loads. It gets used for all sorts actually, and it's been good. It's obviously a small little drill for drilling in screws and, you know, drilling in holes in wood with the, you know, and even concrete with masonry drill bits, and it can do it. And I've drilled out like rusted bolts with it with reverse threaded stuff. It just gets hammered, and it's been really good. It just feels like it did when it was new. The only wish list for this is a little holder clips to hold a Phillips or Posi and a flathead standard size in there, because that's what you use 99% of the time. Without having a holder in there, you got to go and open up your little doodah to get that, and 9 times out of 10 you just want that. Yeah, it doesn't have a trigger lock. That doesn't bother me at all actually. That hasn't been a problem. The rest of it is all fine. It's got a lower torque setting on it, a slower that, and you can go higher speed with it. And then it's got like the you know, the cut off the clutch, the click, 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 so for when you're putting in like plasterboards and you don't want to over torque stuff. Yeah, good tool. That's Chinese made as well, I think. Then up here, these are the first things that I've had for a lot longer, probably about 10 years. Very rarely use them now, but they're just great polishers. So the PE15-2 rotary polisher, brilliant polisher. I don't think that's changed much. And I can't remember what that's called. The PE, what's that called? Is it PE8-480? That's a 3-inch mini with tons of torque. I tend to use that for a bit of metal polishing now, where that will cut out if you try and do metal polishing with it. It doesn't have the grunt. I keep a little brush attachment. That's not a flex part. I think I got that from Monster Shine many years ago. I've got a few of those, and that's good for whacking on there to do carpets. So that's my main tool wall. Batteries still charge great, and you get a little charge timer. It's not too noisy, these things. So that's most of those tools discussed. I love stuff like this. You want Flex to offer really good quality stuff. I don't use that torch too much. I don't use these extension bars too much, but look at the quality of those. They're all lightweight, machined aluminium, I think. Very high quality. It's what you want. Some of the Flex tools that I've tried, because I've got the battery system, I bought their winter battery jacket that's supposed to keep you warm. I didn't like it. The main reason I didn't like it, it's all fleecy, and like the interior of it was all fleecy. So you put the battery in there and it all sags the fleece. I thought it would be all puffy and like a bit more tighter and a bit more well made. It was like a baggy fleece that just pulls on itself with the weight of the battery. Didn't like it. So you can't like everything, unfortunately. The last Flex tool I bought was this, which is just a little electric screwdriver. I'm not liking this tool at all. Again, it needs a clip to hold this, and this should be, you know, the posi at one end and then the flathead at the other, but it doesn't have that capability. So you have to have a separate tool in there. So you're forever reaching and searching through your toolbox, like for the right, I don't even know where it is. Somewhere, there it is, look. You're forever looking for this. and like swapping them around. And you need to be able to hold those in the tool. They missed a massive trick there by not being able to clip these into the tool, unless I'm missing a trick there, but I'm not. The other thing with this, it doesn't have the torque. Every time I've gone to use it, it cuts out and doesn't have the torque that I need. So I end up like going to get a normal screwdriver, and that's a disaster for me if I can't reliably do this because it doesn't have the torque that I want. So it might be okay if you're doing a big job like doing plasterboards all day long. You're like, yeah, it might be okay. But yeah, it's just not been that great for me, that particular tool. I use these adapters on the drill so that I can take wheel nuts off and stuff, which is very, very handy. Finally, I don't know, this is the VC21, so this is a big barrel vacuum cleaner with a long hose. Again, I've had to tape up around the little valve thing to keep it closed. That's the only thing that bugs me with that tool. And the other thing that bugs me is the crevice tool doesn't easily clip on anywhere. And so if you rest the end of the vacuum hose on there, it doesn't clip in, so it just falls off all the time. So I missed the trick there. But generally, that's a pretty decent vacuum with a bit more power, good crevice tools. Yeah, and I think I like having it, but I'm not sure if that's the best vacuum cleaner on the market or if there's more sturdy, bulletproof ones. With your main vacuum, you just want it to be indestructible and you want it to have a ton of power. You want it to be easy to empty out the bags, whack in the new bags. Yeah, I don't use that so much, but if there's a car that, you know, you're not going to use that little diddy one, you know, it's covered in stuff, then you bust out the main vacuum if you've got any serious vacuuming to do. So that's the VC21, that's non-cordless, you know, that's a powered tool, obviously. It does have a nice little plug feature on the front so you can connect other tools, like an extension lead to the actual vacuum. Yeah, it's a good tool. That's about it, really. I like when Flex have released tools like this blower, they bring it out and they do a deal on the batteries where if you sign up and register, you know, they give you like free batteries and stuff. So that's a little incentive. And I think every time they release a tool, they should do that if it's a cordless tool, because it just gives your existing users a little carrot to go in and buy that tool if you're getting existing users are getting a good little deal, or new users, because the batteries are very expensive. And I think that's the thing that will put people off going with this system, is the price. And if you go corded, you don't need to buy all Flex, really. I do believe that they're standardising battery platforms across the EU. So other people's batteries has to be compatible with Flex and vice versa, which I think is a big step forward, because it just stops all this wasted batteries and buying batteries when you've already got power sources there and stuff. So I think that's an intelligent step forward. But I was worried that it might ultimately defunct all of these tools and be a nightmare. But hopefully it's backwards compatible as well as crossways compatible, and I can keep these tools forever and suddenly my battery platform doesn't become obsolete. It's always a problem, isn't it? Whenever you buy and invest in anything, is it how long have you got till it becomes obsolete? How long before new versions of these tools come out and your old versions become obsolete and you've got to reinvest and all that? Because what I really want is tools for life, not just Christmas. Overall though, guys, yeah, pretty impressed so far with this. It's done what I wanted. They've been good quality, reliable tools, and I will continue. Like, I was looking at palm sanders and thinking I should get a palm sander. I was getting the idea that I wanted to be able to learn how to DIY paint a panel at home, because I got a rough idea how to prep it, and I knew I needed like a palm sander, an orbital sander, and I was looking for Flex to see straight away, have they got a cordless one? Is that going to have enough grunt? Have they got a corded one? I'll go with that maybe. But funny enough, with palm sanders, I'm just thinking actually I'll get an El Cheapo, like a Titan one for like 25 quid. So I can, because it may be a hobby that I never get into. So there's an example where they have an offering, but I'm not possibly following it. But, you know, if I need a grinder, I know they've got a good cordless grinder, so I'd probably go and get the Flex one. I saw they had battery powered heat gun, which I thought, ooh, that could be good, because always wanted one of those. I don't have a heat gun. Was using hair dryers to dry paint. I thought, so a battery powered one would be good. They had a little fan that you can plug in. I didn't buy it because I just think, okay, it's nice for a couple of weeks in summer, but then it sits there gathering dust. So I didn't invest in it, but it asked the question. And when they bring out new tools on that platform, they had a stereo. I thought maybe I could get like the Garage Flex stereo and use my corded things. But then I thought, no, because you don't want to be wasting batteries on that. You just plug in and leave your stereo there. And I just gone with a Temu speaker, which has actually been really good. So I don't buy everything that comes out. I'm not like, I'll only buy it if I really need it, because you can end up with too many tools, killing all your space that you don't end up using. So most of these tools I do use, with the exception, I think I use that light the least. There's the tripod for it. That wasn't cheap either. There's my snow foam assault rifle. That's a snow foam thing. That's not a real gun for anyone going into meltdown. And that doesn't get used much either. So there we go, guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's disappointed me about all this Flex stuff. Generally, though, I haven't had any tool failures, which I think is important. The disaster for me would be that the XEE Cordless wasn't a reliable, robust tool, and I'd had to replace it. And I know it's frail or something. It isn't. That's the core that's kept me there. That tool's been absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's my favourite polisher. The question you could ask yourself now is, have the other tool manufacturers caught up? Because Rupes have gone cordless with their polishers, which is good. But the thing is, I think it's fair to say Rupes don't have, like, I've got to be careful because they may have, but I don't know. I don't think they have I don't think they have vacuums and inflators and drills that you could share the platform on. You know, they don't have blowers as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure if they have workshop lighting and stuff, and the range, like, and grinders of stuff. So Rupes are more a polishing specialist. So they would now be an option for those that are really into polishing and don't want all the other tools, because you might have them. DeWalt now, as I mentioned earlier, they have a rotary cordless and the long throw. I thought there was plans for more, but I don't think that's come to fruition, because it's quite a niche market. Who else? Ryobi, I don't know. They've got some polishers and lots of other, good tools, domestic tools. Milwaukee, similar to DeWalt, they do have cordless polishers, but don't have the specialist cordless polishers, the 3-inch minis and the nano tools, as far as I'm aware. But they do have lots of other tools. That would be something to consider if the battery platforms are compatible. You really wanted to use the Flex polishers in the future. Maybe there's going to be compatibility, cross compatibility. And those Milwaukee tools look like the Flex tools, so you don't have like a yellow tool, a red tool. I like the fact these all look the same kind of on the shelf. So maybe it's more viable to go cross-platform, if you like, in future. So it's Makita, DeWalt, Milwaukee, Ryobi, obviously Flex and Rupes. Your other option would be just going cheap Chinese on all of them, going bottom of market, because you would save a packet, but you'd have an assortment of different battery platforms. I don't know, but you could go cross-platform. You could get all your kind of DeWalt tools and then have your cheap Chinese polishers, or not even cheap Chinese, good Chinese, like, ShineMate and stuff like that are well regarded, or Vertool, or, DAS 6 Pro and into Detailing's DA15, all that sort of stuff, which is good. They're not all, I don't think they all have cordless options. So I don't know, it gets complicated nowadays, doesn't it, with all of the options you've got. But for me, yeah, back 5 years ago, it was a clear decision. There was nothing else like this. And a rough summary of that is I've not been disappointed. But if you are looking at it, I'll tell you now, the negatives are the cost of using these battery platforms. No negatives in terms of downtime, because I always have batteries. And by having 2 chargers, you never have a problem with that. That's not entered my head. And generally low failures on tools. Their polishers are their flagship stuff. Their lighting's very high quality. Some of this stuff isn't quite as robust. I feel that the vacuum cleaners are a little bit more plasticky and a bit more, they get banged around a bit more prone to things snapping like I showed you, but generally pretty good. So there we go, guys. Can't think of anything else. So I will constantly keep my eye out for any new tools that come out. Impact guns, I was kind of looking at a good impact gun. I don't know if they have Flex have wrenches, cordless electric wrenches, but again, I think just using the old-fashioned stuff, ratchets and spanners and all that is probably the way to go, because those wrenches don't get to where you need to when you're working in engines. It's all tight. You end up having to go with a spanner and scraping half the skin off your knuckles. Okay, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on all this, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Bye for now.